Alright guys, so it is that time of year again where we start to see a lot of new releases in both the airplane and the heli market, and this is the first one for 2024 for the Blade team. This is the Blade Eclipse 360. It is based on the 450X chassis, that 450 chassis we've seen from Blade for many years. It is a plastic inner mechanics, if you will. There obviously are digital metal servos on board, and this is running on a 3S power system. These are 360-ish millimeter blades. These are the same blades they run on their Fusion 360 line, same exact blades, in fact. But this also has a motor-driven tail. Kind of looks like a Fenestron. Obviously, it's not collective pitch, but a motor-driven tail. We also see motor-driven tails on a lot of new helis coming to the market. The technology has finally come to the point where it's pretty darn close, and the mechanical simplicity that you get from having a motor on the tail is pretty significant. You don't have to have obviously a belt, you don't have to have a tail shaft, you don't have to have all the mechanics back there to do the collective pitch. If you have a good motor on board, the right pitched prop, you effectively can fly it, you know, without even noticing that it's a motor prop, although there are certain cases where you will notice it because it can only blow air more or blow air less. It can't change direction. So there's a little bit of give and take there, but obviously this helps with the mechanical simplicity. It also allows Blade to do kind of whatever they want when it comes to a chassis like this. The rear end could be higher, it could be lower. They could maybe even turn this into different scale options. This is obviously designed for the person who's looking for kind of a scale variant helicopter. This looks kind of very futuristic. It also kind of looks like some other helicopters here and there, but it's really designed for the person that's wanting to step away from that pod and boom style helicopter that you are just kind of bored with. If you want that scale look, you're maybe not ready to take a step up to something with a fiberglass fuselage, for example, the Fusion 360 is probably right in the sweet spot for you. Now, this comes with something really cool, and I think it's important to talk about. This comes with the H6250 HX. This is the flybarless system that Blade sells with the Super Combo on the Blade 550, so their big 550 size heli. This flybarless system is extremely good. It's really good for high-end 3D. It's really tunable all the way down the line. You can tune it on your radio. It's a really good flybarless system, and that's in here. So if you ever decided to move past the Blade 360, the Fusion 360, or even the Eclipse 360, you can then take your flybarless system out and put it into another helicopter. And I think that's a really key feature here. You're not just buying a helicopter that will last you for a little bit and then you'll put it on the shelf. If you did want to gut it and pull some of the electronics out, well, you definitely could do that too. So here's the box that it comes in. Obviously it's going to work with your Spectrum DSMX systems, and it does have optional use safe technology. Now, the fuselage here is fully molded EPO foam, so CA safe, that kind of thing. It's the same foam that E-Flight or Hobby Zone uses in a lot of their aircraft. Obviously the canopy is fully painted, and right now, as you see it, is sitting on kind of its landing gear. There is optional looking wheels inside the box, and I can do a close-up of that as well right here. But those I'm not going to install because I like the way this thing looks like this. But if you wanted to have it up a little higher, maybe you have some tall grass where you fly, maybe you just like the look of wheels hanging down from your helicopter, so you can kind of try to do some taxiing, but that is not something I decided to do. So this fuselage is fully foam, and it is painted obviously, but it does come off. There's a magnet up front here, and it does have little clips in the back, and once you do that, you're greeted with this very long looking fuselage here, this very long mechanical piece that sticks way out, and a ample room for a large 3S battery. Now the recommended battery for this is the 3S 2200 or the 3S 3200, and so I've been running this on the 3200 primarily because I'm able to get more than 5 minutes of flight time with normal head speed. If you crank up to idle up 1, you'll probably get around 5, maybe even 6 minutes depending on how hard you push it. And if you're just flying in normal, I think I was up to 7 minutes at one point. So a really good flight time on a 3200. Your mileage may vary, but lots of room in here. This just kind of plugs in. I ran it all the way forward, and same thing with the 2200. I ran it as far forward as possible to get that weight in the front. We do have a very large tail moment, so getting the weight all the way to the front to me was important. We are running a 3018 2800 kV outrunner motor here that's spinning a pinion gear that's driving the main shaft for the blade system. We do have I would call it a plastic metal swatch plate, a metal head, plastic blade grips, and plastic swash followers. Pretty standard blade stuff here. Your servos are I think these are the digital Metal Gear servos in here. These are the H3050, yeah, so these are just their cyclic servos. Obviously there's no rudder servo with this, you just have your 3 cyclic servos because your rudder is controlled by a motor. And on the side that you guys are not able to see here, I'll try to spin it around for the other camera, but it does have a full satellite system. Again, you're running that 6250 HX flybarless system, so it's going to have a remote satellite there as well. And that's also how you bind the model. You just push on the spectrum bars, hold down, and the bind button. The bind light will come on. Also, something to note with the 360 is that it does have the navigation lights, so it does have a green and red on the sides, and it does have 2 white lights, both right in here and right down here. So I don't have them on. I can plug it in a second, but it does kind of have the nice little lighting on there, which does help with orientation. This color that is on this is kind of almost like a gunmetal, a little bit brown, a little bit silver. It changes kind of in the light, but it's mostly a very pretty gunmetal pewter looking in the sun. But with that, because it is a single color and you do have the canopy to key off of, your orientation might just be a little bit finicky at first. So once you get used to it, you'll use the blade disc that's painted by the whites pretty well. But I find that the color of it can get you a little bit disoriented, but I didn't have any issue once I got it up in the air for a few moments. And those little navigation lights do seem to help quite a bit. So if you're not comfortable yet with doing full, standard flying, full aerobatics, maybe even some 3D, this may not be the step for you. But if you're looking for something that is kind of a step in the larger heli direction, is ready to go out of the box, kind of in that scale, futuristic scale mindset, the Fusion 360 is kind of right on par. Now, you might think, well, why don't I just wait and get a scale helicopter? Well, certainly, but there's not a lot of scale helicopters out there that are fully ready to go out of the box. In fact, very few that are in high quality. But this one just kind of meets that same feel as fast forward flight is a lot of fun with this. Basic aerobatics, right? You can do TikToks, you can do inverted stuff. It'll do all of that. It's a 3D helicopter inside this chassis, and even the tail seems to hold up pretty well. So in my opinion, I'll actually be flying this quite a bit this season just because it's a little fun to mess around in the backyard. It's the right size for me. It does move really well. Like, it hauls. There's a lot of aerodynamics when you try to put a full fuselage on your helicopter. So I'm getting 50, 60, 70 mile an hour straight line runs here in the backyard, and it's quite a lot of fun. So without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this portion up. First and foremost, thanks for everyone. This channel's gotten really big, and I haven't done a whole lot, so I appreciate that. We'll continue to bring some videos out as I can, and this summer, obviously, we'll ramp back up. And let's just jump over to the flying portion now. But before we do that, don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate that. It helps to grow the channel, and it helps me do more of this kind of stuff. So let's get out there and fly. Okay, guys, let's go and try out the Eclipse 360 here. We've got a nice, beautiful day, about 15 mile an hour winds. I'm going to take off in normal mode, fly around a bit, then do idle 1, idle 2. So here we go.
Timer start.
And at the end of the flight, we'll do a little battery check just to see where we're at. We're at a 5-minute timer here, so normal mode, no weird vibrations. Looks nice and smooth. Lights look good on it. We got a wind coming from behind us, so we'll see how this does. It's just cruising around in normal mode here. Fast forward flight. It grooves in the wind. No issues whatsoever. Beautifully smooth, nice and quiet, not obnoxious. I really like that. This is going to be a mode a lot of guys will just feel really comfortable flying in. Kind of learning to fly helis. You got to be conscious of your pitch. It does seem to dip out there if you let it kind of get pushed around by the wind, obviously. And again, that wind's coming from directly behind us. All right, let's go ahead and go into idle 1 here. We're going to go up into do some basic aerobatics. Up, yaw, come down, add in the collective, same thing, up. Oh yeah, plenty of power here. This is 90% throttle. Yeah, this is feeling really comfortable. It's a fast helicopter, I'll give it that. Up right into the sun. And that tail seems to be holding on really well. There's a little flip at the back end of it, and we'll come back down. Now I want to just show you guys the power of the tail, and we're going to go full throttle punches, full pitch punches in 3, 2, 1, push, and stop, and down, and stop. And then we're going to go into idle 2 here, do the same thing, 3, 2, 1, up, and stop, and 3, 2, 1, down. So it does a really good job of holding on to that tail. You want to do that again? 3, 2, 1, up, and 3, 2, 1, down. All right, so now we're in idle 2. Show some of the pirouetting maneuvers here. It's really stable in pirouette. Really nice. Okay, we're gonna go up and just do some tick-tocks here. You just need a lot of elevator, a lot of pitch. I'm using almost full collective here, but it still has plenty to pull out of it. Some inverted, and back around. Yeah, in idle 2, it is a fast machine. Okay, back into idle 1 here. Gonna go up into a nice loop. Oh yeah, right through the sun. That doesn't hurt the eyes. Yeah, it's a really smooth heli. I mean, this is perfect for someone wanting to transition into a collective pitch heli, but just wants to be able to visualize something a little bit better. It's also something that will allow you to do basic aerobatics, basic 3D. You can really learn, and it's really smooth. I'm impressed with how smooth it does some of those just basic going inverted here and then back around. Just nice and easy. It does a great job. I wouldn't consider this as like a super helicopter for hardcore smack 3D, but I'm just flying in idle 1 here and still able to do some really slow aerobatics, slow 3D. And then back down into normal mode. It's just a calm helicopter that loves doing fast forward flight. All right, so we are at 30 seconds on the timer. We're just gonna fly around for a little bit more, then we're gonna land and just see how much battery's left in the tank. We got a 3200 in here today, and I fully believe that we'll have more than 30% of the pack left. You guys can see those LED lights on board there, the white, and then you have the green and the red as well. There's the timer counting down. We'll go ahead and land.
Timer expired. Timer stopped.
Okay, so before we shut the camera down here, guys, I've got a voltage checker, smart checker here. So we're gonna go ahead and just check, see how much is left in the pack. It's obviously not warm even to the touch. It's a pretty cold day out here, so the pack has had a chance to cool off. Go ahead and plug it into my smart checker here, and it's gonna read, so we're reading 11.55, 3.8 volts a cell, 3.85 volts a cell. So this probably had at least another minute or so left in it, maybe even 2 minutes, which is pretty impressive considering a 5-minute flight time. So guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you later.